Doesn't look much, does it? Rhododendron, once it's finished flowering, they never do. For about 50 weeks of the year, they look absolutely nothing. They don't look particularly beautiful. There's no autumn colour because they don't shed the leaves. And once they've finished flowering for that fortnight of the year, this is what you've got. But aside from the flowers, if spring and summer on rhododendrons, there is a little touch of colour that you can find as we go headfirst into autumn. And it's the Rhododendron Leafhopper, and it's an American species which arrived in the UK many years ago and is doing very, very well, thank you, and at no detriment to the rhododendron. As you get towards the end of summer and increasingly further into autumn, the number of invertebrates and species of invertebrates you can find declines. They're still there and they can still be found in various stages, but they're not always very obvious. However, given a little bit of sunshine, there's one particular invertebrate which is at its peak later in the year, and it can be found when the sun is warming the leaves of rhododendrons. And it's this absolute beauty of a leafhopper, the rhododendron leafhopper. You wouldn't have thought a leafhopper could be so colourful. It is absolutely beautiful. This is an American species originally anyway. It came over into the UK a number of years ago. Nottinghamshire, I believe, had its first record in 1989. And then there was a large gap. Either one wasn't seen again or nobody could be bothered to look for it. Dillis and I looked for it in 2012 and found it instantly at the very first place we looked at, which I think was Carbank Park in the middle of Mansfield. We were stunned and both delighted to find this absolutely beautiful leafhopper. But then we started finding it all over. Wherever there were rhododendrons, this species was very common, and it is still so. What a thing though. And for a leafhopper, this is large. You could say huge, in fact, because the length of these is 11 to 12 millimeters. Most leafhoppers in the UK are considerably smaller than that. And they're not always as showy and as bold as this one. On close approach, many will fly or jump and hide away, but soon come out again to sunbathe in the late autumn or late summer sun. These are very showy leafhoppers. Quite fidgety too, and often difficult to approach. Often the first indication that they're present is when you see something fly from one leaf to another. But flights are short and are usually contained well within the plant that you're approaching. When I approached this particular rhododendron, which is at the top of a very sheltered grassy bank, there were numerous rhododendron leafhoppers jumping here, there and everywhere. But then they settle down and they allow a nice close approach. They are absolutely beautiful. Those red streaks on that sort of light sage green background, absolutely beautiful things. These are well worth searching out and looking for. That one's had enough sun for this morning. This one has been incredibly confiding. A fly even came up to it and nudged it, and it still refused to give up its particular sunbathing spot. These will almost certainly be under-recorded, but are an easy find. This is one species that I can almost guarantee that if you was to go out now to your local park and look on your rhododendrons, you'll find these. And despite the coloration, they can be surprisingly difficult to spot when they're motionless on any other part of the plant. For instance, just look at that. It may well appear obvious once you've seen it, but it's surprising how these things can suddenly jump out at you when they've been sat there all the time. And this one is a case in point. The one I've just been filming is just out of the view here. And I didn't see this one at first. But if you approach a rhododendron quietly, give it a couple of minutes and just look and watch and wait, you've got every chance of seeing one of these. And I mentioned earlier that despite their brightly coloured and attractive markings, they can be quite difficult to spot. This one is cozying up to a flower bud which will open next year. It's certainly harder to spot now. It's a little beauty, isn't it? And it didn't arrive here from America under its own steam. It obviously got brought in on some kind of import many years ago. But quite frankly, this is a species that doesn't do any harm, doesn't do any real damage at all. Never seen it in vast numbers, but it's an absolute delight when you see it. Just look at that. I'm presuming it's very widespread throughout the UK, obviously, probably to a lesser degree the further north you could go, but this is something that, as I mentioned, you've got every chance of going out this afternoon looking for and finding in your local park. And what a thing to find too. A fabulous little leafhopper, beautifully coloured, and something that's now very common.